All right, even as we are celebrating yesterday's victory in Florida, many political pundits are claiming that the results of last week's Wisconsin state Supreme Court election, and I don't know if you were following this or not, but it was one where an extreme left-wing judge literally cruised to victory. And that put an end to 15 years of conservative control of the court there in Wisconsin. And it's being portrayed as some indication that pro-life candidates are going to face an uphill battle in this post-Dobbs era that we're now living. It's given, frankly, some Republicans a little bit of pause on how to message on the life issue. I think this is an extremely important issue that we must address. Are the pundits considering the big picture? And what kind of tactics should those who are defending life consider in the light of what we've learned? So joining me now to discuss this is Mary Szoch. She's the director of Center for Human Dignity here at the Family Research Council. Mary, thank you for joining us this evening on Washington Watch. Good to have you.
Thanks so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Well, thank you. Listen, before we get into some of the specifics here, share some of your overall reaction to the signing of the heartbeat bill in Florida last night.
Well, it's a very exciting step. You know, the signing of a heartbeat bill signals that countless more unborn children will be saved. We know that the vast majority of abortions do take place early in the first trimester. And I really love the significance of the heartbeat bill because it says an abortion stops a beating heart. It doesn't turn back time and make a baby no longer exists. It takes the life of a precious, unrepeatable child whose life has changed the world. And so in signing this legislation, Ron DeSantis will save countless more unborn children in the state of Florida. I'm really excited that he signed it.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And, great wisdom, I think, in the governor for signing it immediately instead of letting this thing drag on and on and on. It passed 70-40. It went to his desk. He called in some people to celebrate the occasion. He signed it, and it is what it is. And, of course, we support big time this particular piece of legislation, but we support all pro-life legislation, and regardless of what the polls say. But I think what Governor DeSantis has done here is embrace a strong pro-life bill. And that, I think, is something, and I want to put this out to you, don't you think that this is something that really pro-life candidates across the country need to look at and embrace and understand this is, in fact, a winning message?
Absolutely. You know, I think we've seen a number of pro-life candidates decide to completely run from this message, to not say anything and stay silent. And what we know for a fact is that when you are completely silent, the other side, the pro-abortion industry, will paint you as extreme. Well, what's extreme is that they are in favor of taking unborn children's lives. And not only do they want to take unborn children's lives, they're willing to take an unborn child's life at any point up until the moment of birth and even after birth. We didn't have a single Democrat in Congress stand up and say, you know what, infanticide that could have occurred in DC with the DC-5 that were found last year, the fully intact unborn babies that were found. We didn't have a single Democrat stand up and say, oh, that was wrong, and we need to do something about that and investigate it. And our side needs to do a better job of pointing that out, that we're on par with North Korea and China in some of our states, in states like California and New York, where they will allow the abortion of a child until its birthday.
Well, you bring out some outstanding points there, Mary, and I want to kind of go back and underscore some of these, and if we can, just dig a little bit deeper into it. This whole pro-life message, particularly coming off the heels of what happened last week in Wisconsin, is the attempt is to portray this entire message as the winning message. But you talked about silence is not a winning message. And when you look at what happened in Wisconsin, literally there was a vast difference, both of verbal communication and money spent on the Democrats on the one side, who spent tens and tens of millions of dollars getting across a pro-abortion message, while on the other side, the conservatives in this race were kind of silent on this issue and basically did little to stand on the issue of life. So silence is the problem, not the message. We've got over 40 years of positive message, and we've seen Dobbs overturned. I mean, let's dive a little bit deeper into this from your perspective.
Absolutely. The truth is on our side here. And we've seen the pro-abortion industry spend countless dollars saying that pro-life Americans want women who have life-threatening conditions to die because they can't get an abortion. Well, I have news for you. There's not a single piece of pro-life legislation in this country that does not allow a physician to perform a procedure that would save the life of a mother. And the other piece of news there is that those procedures are not abortions. We know that an abortion intentionally takes the life of an unborn child. And when we don't come out and say, these statements are false, and here's the evidence to prove it, we just hand the other side the victory. And I think we saw that in Wisconsin. What we saw throughout the states in the last election in 2022 was that the 11 governors who signed significant pro-life legislation in the past year, they won, and some of them by huge margins, like Ron DeSantis, who went on to pass further pro-life legislation. That's what we need. We need to come out and say the truth's on our side. Abortion kills an unborn child and forever changes that child's mother by breaking her heart, and sometimes puts her life in danger as well.
Well, last question for you, Mary, just right in line with what you're saying. I think the whole argument really needs to be framed from the perspective that we are defending the life of a child, not that we are anti-abortion. That doesn't register as much as this is a little baby with a beating heart. This is an unborn child. And the argument has to be from the perspective of pro-life rather than anti-abortion. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. We're here to protect unborn children's lives, and we're here to help moms in need. That's what the pro-life movement has been doing since its founding. We know that every mother who carries a child, scientifically, she's going to carry a piece of that child with her, perhaps for the rest of her life. We know that DNA is exchanged between a mother and a child during pregnancy. And that doesn't change if a woman has had an abortion. And we know that abortion hurts women, that psychologically and physically it damages women. We know that chemical abortion especially is dangerous for women. So we really do need to focus on what our side is doing, and that is spreading the message of truth and love, that we need to protect unborn children's lives, and we need to do everything we can to stop the abortion industry from exploiting women.
Mary Szoch, thank you so much for joining us on Washington Watch. Great job. We appreciate having you.
Thanks so much for having me.